Hmm.
How do you evaluate success of your partnership?
Mm, I think, well, we track like students that we serve. We have our KPIs. So how many students, that we have a lot. We are not government funded, which I love because when you're government funded, then they have control of your curriculum,
Yeah.
right? And so you have to do things that they want you to do.
Mhm.
So we have control of our curriculum, but we do work off a lot of grants and we have a lot of amazing donors. So some of our grants and some of our donors, even some of like our bank partners when they volunteer, their criteria is they need to meet so many, work with so many students that are low income.
Mhm.
So one of the KPIs that I track is do you receive a free or reduced lunch? And that puts them in that lower income bracket.
Mhm.
So we track that, but we also track the success of the students. So they do a survey afterwards, like
Mhm.
on kind of their outtake of what they learned from the whole experience. And it is, I mean, it's a game changer for a lot of these students because they haven't had the confidence. A lot of these students have never even had an interview.
Yeah.
So when they walk out and we have the review sheets on how they did, and so they get that verbal feedback of this is what you did amazing, and here's
Mhm.
some ways that you can improve. Um, and you see those students like walking out like, oh my gosh, they said they would have hired me.
Mhm.
So the success is just huge. And then you hear through the success of the school, and
Mhm.
so like how it started blowing up 10 years ago is when we went into Costa Mesa High.
Mhm.
And then in the teacher lounge, everybody was talking about it. And then pretty soon other schools are calling and they're like, we want to do what you're doing there,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. So we do track KPIs big time on that. So we
Definitely.
do monthly KPIs. We have our annual goals. We have goals and things that we set with the schools. So
Yeah.
we track those to make sure that we're meeting everything that their students need.
Yeah. That's awesome. Also seeing like that confidence on the students' face when they walk out.
Oh,
That's gotta be amazing.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've had students cry afterwards because they did so good and they
That's
didn't think they
amazing.
would do that good.
Yeah. It's like building that
Yeah,
confidence, like
it's
from
pretty
everyone.
cool. Yeah, it's the best job.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
No, that's honestly awesome.
Does that answer that, or do you need more information
Oh
on
no, I
how?
think
Okay,
that is perfect.
okay,
I think the KPIs and all of that, like it's super cool to like formally
yes,
hear how you do it because the research just said surveys and didn't really elaborate
mm-hmm,
based on the like websites and everything that I
mm-hmm,
did. So like hearing like the actual steps that you take to see the
yeah,
student success
yeah.
is
So we
really
have
awesome.
students. I have students. There's a QR code that they scan and they register,
Mhm.
but it doesn't register into like a system, but it
Mhm.
just comes to me through, and I track that on Excel. So KPIs is absolutely a must. It's huge because that's what our grants, our donors, like our yearly reports and all
Mhm.
that stuff is all of our outcomes
Yeah,
with that.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
absolutely.
What challenges have you faced in your partnerships specifically?
With the partnerships,
Hmm. Like barriers related to like either funding or resources. I know you touched on it a little bit like before with a
I
few
would
questions.
say with the partnerships, up until a month ago,
Hmm.
the biggest challenge was the bandwidth because we had too many schools that want what we do because it's truly incredible. Like we will do career panels. So we bring industries in and they talk about what they do. We do on site. We took Kennedy High School in, I think they're in Anaheim, to Doubletree Hilton. We took their culinary class
Hmm.
and we did an on site field trip. And so they got to hear from 5 different people within Hilton, like what their jobs are. But then they met the head chef and went into the kitchen and cooked. And then they got to eat what they cooked. And it was just this amazing experience. Like we do some amazing stuff, with these students. So every school like wants it and everybody's like, what can we do? So it's really like looking at the calendar and like, oh my gosh, I don't know when I can fit you guys in. Like the month of February. So last year I worked in schools with the few schools with the schools that we had, about 1,000 students.
Yeah.
Just in February alone, I've worked with 700 students. Almost 75% of what I did all last year in 1 month.
So bandwidth for sure is a challenge.
Bandwidth is a
Yes.
challenge because
Yeah.
it's such a great program and it's such a big need, that it's such a strong need that the school districts are now talking with us, like they want us to take the curriculum that we're doing in high school and make it middle school age appropriate.
Yeah.
And start teaching the middle school those, like the career industries a little bit, and try to get them excited so they go into high school kind of knowing like, ooh, maybe I want to do that, or oh, I don't mind taking math because that's going to help me do that, and helping them learn how to storytell and talk about their strengths and talk about themselves confidently.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at like possibly going into middle schools too.
That is awesome. That is a big expansion.
So the bandwidth is absolutely, I just hired 2 people and I'm sure we are going to need to hire a couple more for next year, but it's really exciting. So I would say definitely that. And then the volunteers, is because you don't want to exhaust your volunteers. And you have to do like scalability and you have to think about what's sustainable. And so I'm reworking a different way to also offer to do interviews that will require less volunteers as we grow to make it scalable.
That's awesome that like you're thinking about like the future and sustainability of these efforts, because that's like a big like part of my course, at least, is like the sustainability of these partnerships. So
yeah, because you'll burn out.
Exactly.
You'll burn them out.
Exactly.
So, and you have to really foster those relationships with the volunteers. And so that's why, like, I think I do, that we had volunteers come to Costa Mesa High and they're like, and I had, I've made chocolate chip cookies forever and everybody swears they're the best on the planet, but I packaged them in little individual bags and tied bows on them because it was Valentine's week. And I had partners come in that said, oh my gosh, I've heard about your cookies. So they all left so happy and they're like, just let us know when we can come back. So you also have to really appreciate your volunteers and make them feel valued. And they love what they're doing too because they get the feedback from students.
Yeah. Also, it's like the little things that show that you like value.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big on thank yous, handwritten thank yous and stuff like that.
It's crazy because now that we've like moved into a more digital age, I feel like some of those like kind of like, it's not even courtesies, but like just like the norms of the past have been lost, like handwritten thank yous or like simple things like that, like go a very long way nowadays.
Oh, I tell students all the time, if there's ever like you have to send a written email, right? Like an email thank you after an interview.
Exactly.
But I tell students, if there is ever a job or an internship or a scholar, anything like that that you interview for that you want so bad, think outside the box and do something that other people won't do and do a handwritten thank you letter. A girl did that, a student that I helped get her first job at Starbucks. She had an interview on a Friday, and on Saturday morning, unbeknownst to me, didn't surprise me because she's amazing, but she dropped off just a little handwritten, like a little small thank you card. And she just said something like, thank you so much for interviewing me yesterday. I really enjoyed hearing about you, about the team, more about the team, and looking forward to hearing back from you or something like that. And the manager called me that afternoon and said, I've been a manager here for 5 years and I receive email thank yous all the time, but that is the first handwritten thank you I've received in 5 years. She got hired.
Yeah.
I mean, she interviewed anyways, great, but it's those little things. Like I am always telling students, you guys have got to look for things that will make you stand out. And how can you gain a competitive edge if you're going up against 50 other people? You got to do something to make yourself stand out. And that's something that's easy to do that you can do.
Takes minimal time.
Yeah.
But like it's something that the employer remembers for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, when we do handwritten thank yous for our volunteers and like little gifts, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys wrote me a card.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's for sure like super cool.